Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going right back to basics, and I'm going to give you some tips for brand new beginners to watercolor. What kind of paints you might want to use, brushes, paper, what they do, how to use them, everything completely basic. So if you're just starting out, this is the video to watch. So let's jump right in. Okay, so for this video, we are going straight back to complete basics for my beginners. I've gotten lots of questions about certain paints and how to just start. So I thought I'd go right back to the basics, talk about paint, talk about how you activate it, what's the difference between the pans and the tubes, and just give you all the information that I know. I am not a professional. I have not been to art school. Everything I know is self-taught, so I'm not going to tell you that I know everything because I definitely don't, but I'm going to share with you what I know. So in order to paint with watercolor, there are a few things you need. You need paints, you need watercolor paper. I am going to use this cheaper paper right now. It's Canson watercolor paper in a notebook. I would not recommend going anything below 140 pounds. It just won't give you good results. This is not the most ideal paper for watercolor. I have mentioned in my other videos, my favorite is Arches watercolor paper, but it can get a bit pricey for some people, especially depending where you are in the world. So I thought if you're a beginner, I'm just going to show you on beginner paper. This is a great beginner paper to start with, just practicing your techniques and shapes. So that's what I'm going to work on today. As far as brushes go, I use Princeton snap brushes. I love these. They're not expensive brushes by any means, not at least where I get them in Canada. But what I look for in a brush, this is really wet, so it's not going to show you. Look at one of my dry ones. What I look for in a brush, first of all, is a round brush. A round brush, it usually says it on it. And it's kind of round and then it comes to a point at the tip. As far as size goes, it really depends on what you're painting. Usually if I'm working on bigger paper, I'll use a bigger brush. And then for smaller detail, I'll use a smaller brush. I use a size 2 or a size 0. If you can get yourself a variety, do not go overboard and spend lots of money on brushes. What I look for in brushes, like I was about to say, was I like a good snap. So I like when you can do this to a brush and it goes right back to its original shape. That is kind of the deal breaker for me. Also, you don't want a brush that will lose its hair while you're painting, and so far these haven't. So they're by Princeton. They're Princeton snap brushes. You can get them on Amazon. I'm gonna link it below. But these are my favorite brushes and they're not too expensive. So if you go to like Michael's or something and you see a $20 paintbrush, you don't need to do that, okay? This I think was like maybe $10. Okay, so you got your brushes and your paper, and then paint. So people have asked me what the difference is in paint. So there are a few different kinds of watercolor paint. There are pan sets, there are half pan sets, there are watercolor tubes. My favorite cheaper brand is Prang watercolor sets, which you use in elementary school. So they're pan watercolors. I can't go into detail about everything about them because I don't really know, but in order to activate these, all you have to do is put your brush in the water, then put your brush into the paint, mix it up a little, and then there you go. So I am going to paint with these just to show you a couple of things to practice as a beginner. But I have gotten some questions about how to use the tube watercolors. So you're going to need to purchase each tube individually. They can get a little pricey, so I suggest if you're just starting out, you don't need to start with expensive watercolors. That Prang set is perfect. But if you are going to upgrade, how to use these is I purchased a palette. These are all the colors I have. If you've seen my other videos, you do not need this many colors. I have them because I'm obsessed. But what I do to use them, so they come out, oh, I hope this one's not dry. So I'm going to show you with my black tube. So it comes out like this. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see it? Can you see it? It's like, it's liquid kind of watercolor. It's not liquid where it drips, but it's like a paint, kind of like an acrylic paint. And you can put it in your palette and use it straight like this. But what I like to do is I fill my palette. Someone asked also, do you put the whole tube in? No. fill up the space kind of as much as you like. I usually fill them up pretty much, not a high amount, but just fill up in there. And then I let them dry overnight. Okay, so right now, these colors are all dry. Okay, I've let them dry. That one is wet because I just put the paint in there, but I will leave it open and I will let it dry. You can leave them open, no problem. The reason why I do this is because they last a lot longer. Say if I were to use it straight from the tube, I'm going to be picking up a lot of paint and using it. And then you just tend to go through it a lot quicker. And because they can get quite pricey, you do not want to use them as fast as possible. I filled this palette up last month and it's still doing pretty good. You can see which colors I use the most. I use black a lot, but the ones with those little dips are the ones I've used the most. Okay, so that's how you use tube watercolors. But look at some of my other videos. You can mix all these colors. You don't mix them straight from the tube. I'm gonna show you with the other ones. But anyway, these are the more expensive ones. That's how you use them. Squeeze them into your palette, let them dry overnight. And then to use these, all you have to do once they're dry, I'll just show you. I put water on my brush. I'll go right into this red here. Swish it around. Now, the more you swish it around, the more paint you put on your brush, the darker the color is going to be. Like that. Okay. Now, if you don't want it to be that dark, you can use a lot more water than paint. So let's clean off our brush completely. And my brush has water in it, and I just dip it in gently. And then you're going to get a lighter wash of it. Okay, so more water means lighter paint. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to mention one more thing about setting up your palette. If you are going to use the tube watercolors, set them up kind of according to warm and cool colors. So your cool colors are going to be your blues, your greens, and your purples are kind of over this way. And then your warm colors are your pinks and your reds and your oranges and your yellows, okay? It just makes it easier when you are mixing them up. So you're gonna have this like designated area for yellows and then oranges and pinks and then maybe pinks and purples because you're not really gonna mix too much, say like red, and like if you have warm colors and cool colors together and they get together, they're gonna get kind of muddy and brown. If you do wanna mix a brown, mix a certain area for that, that's totally fine. And if you ever want to clean off your palette, so I leave these colors, so I've pre-mixed these colors for other paintings and I will usually use them, or if I want to mix a new color, I will go right on top of it. It won't change it that much. But for some reason, if you want to clean your palette and get rid of some certain colors, just use your brush, wet it like that, take your paper towel, mop it up like that, and you can mix new colors. So that's just a little bit about setting up the colors in your palette. Again, you do not need to purchase this many colors. You can make this many colors plus more with just using like 3 colors. I do have a video on that, so check it out. It's called Mixing Colors. But I just wanted to mention that while setting up your palette, kind of think of a rainbow of which direction it's gonna go, the yellow, orange, red, pink, purple, green, blue, whatever, all that stuff. Okay? But now I'm going to show you how to use this Prang set and how to do a couple watercolor techniques for my beginners. So, like the Winsor Newton watercolors, to activate these, all you have to do is put water on your brush and then put your brush in here. So you can, if you want, just drop some water in there to start, and then the water will activate the watercolor. Just swish it around. And like I said, to get a darker, like a really pigmented color, you're gonna swish it around there for a while, and you're gonna have a lot of paint on your brush. Now, I have a whole video on water control because a lot of the problems you can run into as a beginner is using too much water to the point where it's gonna pool. And this is not something that you want to happen. I don't know if you can see that. See, it's all pooling to one corner. Okay, so if that happens, that means you're using too much water. But to fix that, you can just take your paper towel. Sorry, also you need paper towel and water in a jar of water to do watercolor. I forgot to mention that part. I just moved it all around. That's not what I meant to do. Sorry guys, hold on. Let's put too much water on there again. Okay, to lift it up, to get rid of some of that water, just take like a corner of your paper towel and just let it soak up like that. Or you can wash off your brush, dry off your brush on your paper towel, and then lift up color like that. Again, wash it off, dry it, lift up color, and that will take away some of the pooled water too. So that's how you get your paint on your brush to your paper. Now, like I said here, if you want lighter, a lighter hue of a color, so here I have a really, really dark red, and then here I have a light red. In a lot of my videos, you're gonna see that I ask you to do a light wash of something. So I'm gonna show you kind of like a scale of dark to light and how to get that. So like I said, lots of paint on your brush is gonna have a darker color. Now what you can do if you wanna do a scale, dip your brush, oh no, sorry if you can't see that, in your paint, or sorry, no, dip your brush in your water, run it against the side, and put it on your paper. Okay, try and make sure there's not too much water. That's why you run it against the side, taking off some of that water, and then you can get it. And it will just get lighter and lighter the more you do that. Okay, so that's how you get a light wash. So if you don't want to do it right from your brush to the paper, what you can also do is use your lid as kind of like a palette, and say you put your color here. Also, when you mix colors on your palette top, you can reuse these colors again. All you have to do is add water in your brush. So let me just show you this first. So if I want a light wash of this blue, I'm gonna wash off my brush, put water on there, do the same thing. The more water, the lighter the color will be. Okay, and you can go straight to that light color. Okay, and like I said, mixing colors, if it's dry, like all this is dry, just take your wet brush and you can reuse these colors again. That's the beauty of watercolor. Okay, so now mixing colors, what you're gonna do is you're going to take your color. So say I'm gonna take some purple here. I'm gonna put it on my palette there. Wash off my brush, run it against the side so there's not too much water. And I'll take some blue maybe. Now see here, I think I have too much blue. Again, wash it off, take my purple, and mix it until you get a color that you really like. Okay? Let's make, I'll show you how to make a nice green. I'm not really too fond of the green colors that are in here. I find this one is kind of too like fake limey green. And then this one also doesn't, like, especially when I do my florals, they're just not realistic greens for the greenery. So what I like to do is I will take this dark green here, mix it on the palette, wash off my brush, take purple, mix it in there, and it gives you this nice like hunter green color. To make that darker, you just, oops, sorry, nope, don't do that. Just put more paint, kind of mix it. I should have washed my brush in between, but sometimes I don't, and that's okay. There you go. Just put more paint on there to get a darker hue of it, okay? So that's how you can mix colors. Now, some techniques that you may hear in some watercolor videos are color bleeds or color blends. I also have a full video on that, but this just happened to happen right now. Right here is a color bleed. It's when one color bleeds into another kind of seamlessly. You can see that definite line from the green to the darker green, and that can add some really nice effects to your work. So that's a color bleed. A color blend is kind of when you go from one color to another color, making a new color in the middle. So I have some purple on this side, I have some blue on this side, and then I just kind of move them closer together to get that nice blend. I'll wash this off, bring that purple closer to the middle, and it's just kind of like getting from one color to a next. So if you want more on that, I do have videos on that to check it out. but that's basically what a color blend is. Okay, so color bleeds, color blends. Again, if you make a mistake, some of the beauties of watercolor, if it's still wet, you can take up that color and paint over it. So hopefully this works with this paper and this paint. But if you, so say I didn't want that color in the middle, you can just take your paper towel while it's still wet and you can lift up that color and it will lift up most of it, and then say you can fix it. Okay, but it still has to be wet. But those are just some basics. If you have any more questions about paint or paper, I may know the answers, I may not know the answers. But honestly, watercolor is just supposed to be fun, so enjoy it and have fun and just take some time to just play around. I love mixing colors. My only recommendation is don't put like a black into the yellow. But sometimes, as you saw, I mix colors in there and it happens, but you can just wash it out with your brush and whatever. Just have fun. Honestly, just have fun. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's really easy, and it's something that you just have to get the hang of. So some of these things, these techniques that I've mentioned, I do have other videos specifically on those. So go through my channel and just see if you're interested in any of those before you ask some questions that I might already have the answers to. But yeah, I hope that clarified some beginner stuff of how to start with watercolor, what you need. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really hope you liked it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram for more. Have a great day, guys. Bye.